Hello, I'm Gary Quinn, and welcome to Ready, Set, Live. In life, we can always create an intention to create our extraordinary lives. My guest today is singer-songwriter Josh Olsen. Stay close, I'll be right back. I want to welcome my guest, Josh Olsen.
Hi, how are you?
Welcome, Josh.
Nice to be here.
It's so great to have you in studio.
Yes, so good to be here.
You know, you grew up in a small town in Texas. Did you have an intention as a young boy saying, I want to sing?
I definitely did. Growing up, music was always such a big part of my life. So my mom was a singer-songwriter. I grew up singing in church, and so I was surrounded by it. So there was always that intention to follow my dreams and move out to Hollywood and try to make it in music. So I started very young.
Was there I know your mom was a big influence, but was there any other artist at that time that you were influenced by?
Well, I wasn't really able to listen to a lot of, they called it growing up secular music or mainstream music, because I kind of grew up quite religious.
Okay.
I have pastors on both sides. So what I grew up with was like Michael W. Smith, Amy Grant, Christian artists.
Christian music. Okay.
Yeah, so that was really what I grew up with. And it wasn't until maybe later in my teen years that I kind of got to branch out and listen to like Michael Jackson and Justin Timberlake and stuff like that. So,
well, I think sometimes that is much more impressionable, but also more soulful.
yeah.
You know, I recently was able to go to the premiere of Respect and met Jennifer Hudson, and Aretha sang in church, but it's funny how that is going back to the roots of what music is really about in some ways, you know.
So many artists grow up in church. I feel like that's like a recurring story with artists. It's like, how did you get your start? Oh, church. You know, it's the easiest place to get an audience to sit there and listen to you sing.
Right.
So,
when you moved to Hollywood, I know that you were on, was it the X Factor?
Yeah.
And what was that like? I mean,
So,
because you were coming from Austin. Well, it was in
right. So it actually started in Austin.
Okay.
I started music with my twin brother, who also sang with me. And we did the show together. We had moved from our small town of Brenham to Austin, Texas, and that was one of the first journeys that we took together on our music path. And X Factor had us. Our first audition was in front of the live judges.
Wow.
Yeah, we didn't have any preliminary rounds. It was in front of 8,000 people and them. So that was a huge turning point for me, but really made me realize that I wanted to do music in that moment.
Were you nervous?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I don't think you cannot be nervous. And I think after that, I realized I'm like, okay, I got through this. I can do anything after being judged by celebrity judges. So.
Right. And I know when you were singing a couple weeks ago, you have this ease on stage. Is there an inner sacred space you work on prior? Do you go into meditation, to prayer, or anything that really aligns you to kind of just be in your space?
I think every artist has their own little things that they do. I just try to relax as much as possible and tell myself, you got this, positive thoughts. That's really how I get ready for it.
Why do you think people are miserable or unhappy?
Why do I think they're miserable? Joe, I don't know. I really think it's thoughts. I think our thoughts control a lot of our reality. So when you're a negative, I think monitoring our thoughts is important. That's what I do. I make sure on a day, if I have a bad thought, I monitor it. I go, okay, I'm going to push that away. I'm going to think about something positive. So I think on stage, I do the same thing. Of course, those doubts come in, but I try to push that away and
I think also because we're human, we're not machines,
right.
But you have to work at being in this energy of happiness and really saying, okay, I have to, I'm a big person on saying affirmations, and I teach people how to say affirmations, but how to live a much more happier, mindful life. What do you do in your day that helps you get there? Is there a ritual, exercise, meditation, yoga? Do you do
Absolutely.
any of that?
I try to meditate as much as possible, and I go in and out through life depending on how busy I am. But meditation is huge, whether it's 5 minutes, 15, 30 minutes, whatever you can do a day. But yeah, I try to do as much meditation as possible. And then just affirmations throughout the day of like, just repeating like, I got this. These positive affirmations are huge throughout the day, just keeping that positive mindset.
What would you say has been your greatest challenge to overcome?
Greatest challenge? I think, I didn't come from a rich family. I think that's any artist that's starting out will tell you the hardest part is how are you going to get, the money to record an album and to produce music, because it's really expensive. So I think coming out to LA, not knowing anybody, that was the biggest hurdle to kind of overcome. Is I'm a small town boy coming to this big city. I don't have any connections here. How am I going to do this? And
trust.
Trust. And there was something inside me that said, you're meant to be here. This is where, you've always wanted to go. So do it.
And I also think when you follow your dream and you believe, it all manifests.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the thing people need to remember, that you could come from Mars and land here and say, I'm going to sing. I will have that album.
Yep.
And I'm big on manifesting these situations in different countries. I said, I'm going to teach all over Italy and be on television and have books there.
Yep.
3 years later, it happened. But
That's
you
great.
must believe
in
order to receive. And that's part of the mindset that you have to have. And I think with your songs that you're, in the lyrics, it's very authentic to write, because that's almost just stream of consciousness through the soul. What inspires you when you write? Is it just life?
Life inspires. Yeah. I get inspired by life in general, but also other people's relationships. Maybe a movie that I watched that was super, inspirational to me. But really, this album that I just came out with was really based around a really negative relationship that I went through. And that was really the premise of the whole thing, me kind of coming out of that negative relationship, finding who I am without that person, and then, kind of finding love again.
Almost like Adele.
Yeah, exactly.
And the album is called
The Beginning of the End.
The Beginning of the End. What a great title. And I think it's on screen. But I felt the energy in some of the songs when I listened to it. And I felt the energy on stage that you had. That's why I invited you, because I have to be moved by the person, or authenticity is the main drive for me connecting to someone. How can we all learn to really truly love ourselves? What do you think that?
I think that's a daily struggle that everybody goes through, is how do we love ourselves? I know it's a huge struggle that I've gone through in life. But I think it's accepting ourselves for everything that we are, the imperfections that we have, maybe the things that we think nobody else is going to like about us. But really wholly accepting it and then owning it and just, living it and being okay with it.
And I think that's a big fear for many people, is to own it.
Yeah.
And to sort of step into that light. And I know that there's always challenges that we all walk into this life and we experience. It's like a classroom.
Right.
And was there any point that you had that fear of saying, I want to be accountable for me, and I have to stand up for who I am now, and I have to jump in and be me, and it's okay?
Well, this is a perfect example. I'm gay. And so a huge part of my career, I felt for the longest time, is I cannot be who I am and be the artist that I want to be. And that was a fear thing. It was something that I told myself daily, that I can't be who I am and still have the career that I want. And it wasn't until recently that I got over that. And I was like, I wrote a song called Love You Enough that I performed at the show. And that was, before I got on stage with that song, I was like, I don't know if I want to tell what the song is about. I don't know if I want to be that vulnerable. And I think as artists, that's the biggest struggle, is being vulnerable.
Correct.
And I was like, you know what? I cannot be inauthentic and not tell the full meaning of this song. And I think when we are vulnerable, that allows other people to be vulnerable and connect with you. So,
correct. Now, what would you say if you're vulnerable and the other person you're connected to is not vulnerable? What's the solution there?
What's the solution?
Is it like, okay, I need to, hit them
I
on the
need to
head?
keep it. No, I mean, you can't control people, but I mean, all I can be is myself and be vulnerable and hope that it touches somebody and allows them to feel free to be vulnerable as well.
Or maybe they start to feel safe that
Yeah.
you're not going to do or judge them
Right.
or whatever. Because I think, a lot of people get into judgment and everybody's guilty because we're human,
Right.
Judgment or expectation.
Yeah.
I think we have to just be in the mindset that we're in the now, right now, and that's all there is at this moment.
Yeah.
And in this moment, we have to know that we can manifest what we really want, which is your true heart's desire.
Absolutely.
What's the desire for Josh? What's on that you say? I really want, Gary. This is what my vision of what I want to create or manifest.
Yeah. I think it's been from a very, very young age. My passion for music has always been what's kind of pushed me. But really, I just want to take it as far as it can possibly go. And I think me being an example of an artist who is gay, who can stand up on stage and not be a stereotype, and kind of be confident in who they are, that's going to help change other people's lives. And hopefully more and more will, follow. So I want to take it as far as possible.
When we talk about inspiration, now that you look forward or being in the moment of what you've written in the albums, who would you love to, let's say, record with or do a song with if you could choose any?
There's so many.
Like pick three that you'd say, I want to record with this one, that one.
Yeah, I've always wanted to work with Ryan Tedder from One Republic. So Ryan, if you're listening.
Okay, Ryan, are you there?
Sia is one big
Sia.
one. Gosh, there's so many. Mariah Carey. I love artists that not only perform and sing, but also songwrite. So
Yes.
any of those artists would be
Okay.
huge. But the list goes on and on and on.
Well, let's put the intent, because remember, every time you set an intention,
Right.
you can manifest it.
Right.
I had a client who was visiting from I don't know what country, and she wanted to meet Tom Cruise, and she said, I'm here for 2 weeks. And I said, okay, so put that intention out that you're going to meet him.
Right.
And that afternoon, after the session, we went to Earth Cafe on Melrose. Guess who was behind us? Tom Cruise.
There you go.
He was in a motorcycle outfit. He had just, I guess, pulled up in his motorcycle. And she was like where you're sitting, and she goes, oh my God. I go, what? And she says, Tom Cruise. I said, talk to him. You manifested it. He was really nice. She talked to him. I sort of got out of the way. I didn't do anything. It was her moment. And they did a selfie.
That's amazing.
So everything you can manifest is based on your thoughts, your mind, and your belief. And so when you believe that you are singing, then it's going to really expand worldwide. So your intention is you're a worldwide international singer that's helping
absolutely
with the message. Would you say that now what you know and you are looking at the future of your songwriting, do you think that you would change anything that's happened to you so far?
Change any of my journey? No,
Okay.
I don't. I think every artist has their journey, and I don't know if I hadn't gone through everything that I've gone through, that I would be the artist that I am today. So I think the struggle and all of my struggles through life have brought me to this point. So I can't say that I'd change it.
Do you have any Joshua fears still?
Oh, absolutely.
Any you can talk about?
No, I think like I said, I struggle with that daily. And I told you even before I went up on stage, I was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to tell the full meaning of this song. I still struggle with, and I think any artist who's going through what I would probably say the same thing, that fear never goes away. even though we confront it and we move past it, it never goes away. It's always going to be there knocking, kind of in the back of your mind. So yeah, no, I still struggle with that daily. And I probably always will.
Is there anything, Josh, that you love to do other than music or singing that you say, oh, I love to stamp collect, or I go hiking and I love rocks?
I love being active. So being out in nature kind of centers me. So like if I'm stressed out and I'm in LA, it's very easy to get there, especially with everything going on. I just go out into nature and that like centers me. So hiking, getting out in the nature, that's my thing.
Well, nature just brings, I just had a guest on the other day. She wrote a book about healing with nature, and it opens up your chakras, your energy to balance you through the nature of touching a tree.
Right.
It's just all basic.
Well, I'm being from Texas. I was surrounded by nature as a little kid, and it wasn't until I moved to Austin and LA that I just kind of got out of it. And so now when I go back into it, I'm like, wow, I really need this. Like this is something so needed.
So in your town where you grew up, there was lots of forest, trees,
well,
lakes.
I'm actually from, my grandparents are cattle ranchers.
Oh, nice.
And so I grew up always on the ranch or around horses and, just very surrounded by nature. So
you need to be around animals and farms.
Right.
Well,
right.
You can drive up to Santa Clarita. I think there's lots of land, or even, you can go to Malibu. If you keep going, there's people who have horses and all kinds of things.
California has everything.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Great.
Do you cook?
I do.
What do you make?
I do. So
specialty.
If I'm doing something healthy, depending on what the mood is, I'll cook a salmon. Salmon is like my all-time favorite meal. But if I'm doing unhealthy, a burger is my go-to thing. Like a hamburger, I can never say no to.
Okay, so you eat meat.
I do eat meat.
Okay. Now
I tried to go vegan for like 3 months, and I did pretty good. But
well, I think if you listen to your body, you can figure out what works and what doesn't.
Right.
All right. So I want you to answer these one words. Heaven is.
Amazing.
Love is.
Beautiful.
Energy. My energy is.
Positive.
What the world needs more of is.
Love.
God is.
Good.
Excellent. Good. So that being said, when we talk about moving forward now in your career, singing and writing, and I think it's important that we all know that we are already enough, and that you don't have to prove anything. And I think that gets to a point that you're not having to sell anything.
Exactly.
You're just being.
Yes.
What would you say to someone who wants to have a career in writing and singing, that maybe lives in a small town, that has no connections, that says, oh my God, I'm listening to Josh, and how did he do all this? And what advice would you give to young, inspiring performers?
To just do it. You're going to hear so many doubts. You're going to hear so many people say that it's not possible, that you can't do it. I think it's just getting out of that, trying to get it as much as it's coming into your head daily, trying to push that away and really stay true to who you are and stay determined and focused, and you can accomplish anything.
Absolutely. People can find the album on Spotify, on iHeart, or they can purchase it everywhere.
Yeah.
If you haven't had the album, you can go on JoshOlsenOnline.com or even Josh Olsen Music, your Instagram.
Yep.
What is, if you had any, let's say, if I said to you, Josh, what regrets do you have so far in this lifetime? Any?
Regrets? I think regrets really, I would say it would probably be family, because moving from Texas to LA, most of the time you especially with COVID, I haven't been able to go back as much. So I think the regrets is just time. I think it's so easy to get wrapped up into this industry of like go nonstop. So I think just regrets would be like taking more time to go back and see the people that I love, the people that keep you grounded. So
if you could go back in the future, or I'm sorry, the past, and speak to someone who's no longer here, who would that be, and what would you ask them?
Well, I probably would talk to somebody like Elvis or Michael or something like that is going through something that I could potentially go through, and just ask them, just pick their brain to death on like what they regret and what they wish they would have done differently. That's probably what I would do.
Right. Any new songs? I saw on your Instagram you were working on a couple that were sounding really nice.
Yes.
What's the latest one that you can?
I'm always writing daily.
I know. You post. It's great.
Constantly writing. So I like to write hundreds of songs and then pick the ones out that I like. So I am still kind of in that process of just writing and even posting. I'll even post like a verse chorus on TikTok or Instagram to see what the response is, see if people like it. So we're still in that mode, but I am talking to my producer, Bart, and we are definitely going to get in the studio soon.
Yeah, I wish we could show a clip, but unfortunately you can't show your clips on like a music video.
Oh, really?
For some reason they take them down.
Copyright.
But maybe you could sing some without
sing some.
No, maybe just like a like something that you're working on now that people can get I want them to get the flavor of your voice. It's so cool.
I could sing some of I Won't Say I Love You, which is one of my songs.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't want to say the words, don't want to be the first to tell you I love you. You don't know what I've been through. I don't want to be the first, 'cause if I do I might get hurt. You don't know what I've been through, so I won't say I love you.
Hey, Josh, I get a concert in studio. Thank you so much. Oh, my God, that was great. I love that. No, I love your Instagrams because you're at the piano and you just, boom, go.
Yes.
I think you are a gold find in this business. And if anybody out there hasn't heard Josh, get the albums, listen to him. And I wish you all the best. I think you have such a great talent. And it's a pleasure to have you in studio, and I'm going to be at your next concert.
Yes. It was such a pleasure being here. Thank you so much, Gary.
Excellent. I'm Gary Quinn. Join me for another episode of Ready, Set, Live. Until next time, be well.